Hello. My name is Angel Howard. I work in the Office of Vice President of Student Affairs. I am Coordinator of Professional Development and Staff Training. So I wanted to do a recording for those that wanted to watch this on their own time. This was a presentation, so you will see some slides that would have caused for activity to happen into the presentation, but I'll just explain it clearly for you all who are just watching this. But I'm calling this Zoomgagement. I've had the fortunate time of using Zoom for a few years prior to us all having to adjust to it quickly. So I just wanted to give some tips of the trade and just some tools that I use to engage folks on here. I've done lots of presentations and educational type sessions with different people, students, staff, you name it. So hopefully this will help you. So the objectives for today are: one, to understand how to navigate Zoom, learn what tools are available within Zoom, and learn what tools you can use with Zoom that's not already inside of it, and then discover how these tools can be used to engage your staff, students, family, and friends. So the first thing I typically like to do with folks is kind of show them how to navigate things. I'll do this any presentation that I do. Now, if it's a group that you will regularly be working with, then of course spend a lot of time doing this on day one. But if it's not a group that you're going to continually work with, then I would implement this in every session or any type of training or anything that you do. So the first things that I show, let me highlight. So the first things I show is the bar, and this bar is located at the bottom of the Zoom screen. And typically the security is really important. If you've not used the Enable Waiting Room yet, I actually like that feature. I like to start the session pretty early, but then I'll let people wait in the waiting room until a certain amount of time, because some people like to come super early, and that's just a little too early. So I have a set time that I'm willing to open the Zoom. And that's mostly because once they're in the Zoom, then I have to start to entertain them. I have to start having a conversation. I have to start checking on everybody's day. And for some sessions, that's not really necessary because we're going to do that probably in the session. Excuse me. So it's important to, honor your own time and set a standard of when you're going to open those rooms. So once you enable a waiting room, you'll see them pop up. And for me, I've put a picture in my waiting room area that says, "Thank you for your patience. I will open the room shortly." So you can put a message there to let people know what to expect. Or sometimes you can type in your chat a message just to them and say, "The room will open at 5:55. So give that message. This is also your quick access to if you're going to allow other people to share, if you're going to allow people to chat. And I always like for people to chat. I think it disturbs some people, but for me, it doesn't bother me for people to chat and have a conversation while I'm presenting. One, because it keeps them moving, keeps them active and engaged. As long as they're not trying to teach what I'm teaching in the chat, now that can be annoying. So, but if they're having a conversation or amen cornering or anything like that, I'm perfectly fine with that. I also like to allow people to rename themselves. I'll put my name and my pronouns. I'll say Angel, she, her, hers in my box so that when people are talking to me, they can reference me by what I want to be called. And I want to do the same thing. So I ask people to rename themselves, whatever they want me to call them and how they want me to refer to them, because I do plan on calling out people no differently than I would if I was face to face with them. So it's really important to me. All right, in the participants, when I typically tell folks to click their participants because that's where we're going to find the raise hand feature. And depending on the size of the group is how you're going to use that. If it's just 5, I say typically 5 to 10 people, then I don't really have them raise their hand. I can see them clearly and we can just have a conversation. But once it gets larger than that, then I do need them to raise their hand. When they raise their hand, their name will pop to the top of the participant box, and so then I can give them the attention that they want at that moment. So yeah, so I do like to use that feature for that. I'll honestly say that I don't use any of these other ones very often. Maybe the yes, no, if I'm asking a question and I just want to see a really quick response. But all those other things I really don't use. Then you have your chat box. Like I said, I have people open that up so that they can, because I'll ask questions, especially in large groups. I'll ask a question and tell them to answer it for me in the chat box. So I'll have them have multiple ways to answer me just to kind of engage them differently. And then your share screen option, your recording, breakout rooms, which I'll show you how to make sure all of those things are on your bar. And then the reactions. I do like the reactions. The reactions will pop up in the box. I call it, again, my amen corner, where if someone likes what I'm saying or they're connected to what I'm saying, and they can give me a hand clap or a thumbs up. Just a fun fact, if you click your easy settings, where if you click the arrow up on your stop video, that box, you can actually change the color of your hands. So I like for my hands to match my skin tone. So I change mine to stay that way, period. All right. So things to consider when you are going to be doing things on Zoom. One, how long will the event or meeting be? You have to do different things depending on the length of time that it's going to be. You can't just expect people to watch you talk for 5 hours. Like, you just can't do it. Consider who the audience is. If it's, students, then there's different type of engagement. If it's staff, then that's different type of engagement. You know the people, you know the population, so try to adjust accordingly. Now, I won't adjust it too much because I think staff like to do a lot of the things the students like to do. A lot of those things are very important on both sides, so don't erase it just because, but don't take for granted that it's staff and you don't have to engage them either. They deserve to be engaged no differently than we would want to engage our students. What is the purpose? What is the mood? And whose voice needs to be heard the most? Those are all important things to think about when you're planning your Zoom presentation or whatever it is it's going to be. Okay, one thing that I've learned that I think people love is that you can actually take attendance or download an attendance report in Zoom. This is a really cool feature to me. If you go to your advanced settings, so the two ways you get to your advanced settings is you can either go to that general setting I just told you about, and then once you click general, you'll see the choice to get to advanced settings, or when you open your Zoom box where your little cute picture or profile picture is, you can click the little anchor thingy that is there for your settings, and that will take you to the big settings where you have to log in to get into. So when you log into there, you'll see this right menu over here. Excuse me. You'll see this right menu. You can click reports. Once you go into here, you click usage. Then you will just look through your date range and find the meeting. Whatever meeting it is, you'll click it, and then you'll actually be able to export a report, and it'll tell you name of the person, and it'll also tell you how long they've been in there. Now, the one thing I don't like so much about the report is that if a person logs in and out, then their name is going to show up multiple times. But that's an easy fix. If you have a GA or a TA that attends to those things for you, they can easily clean that up for you. But I think it's just great to actually be able to download that, because in the beginning I didn't know, and I was having people put their name in the chat box. I was trying all kind of stuff, and it just wasn't. This is much more streamlined, and it's perfect for me. All right, so if this was a presentation, I would have you watch this video. This is just a video kind of making fun of what our Zoom calls look like in real life. You can feel free to Google it. It's hilarious, and I'll put the link at the bottom, but I won't do it for you now. Oops, there we go. Now, I wanted to show the video because if your plan was to watch the video with people, then continue that plan and watch the video with people, even if it's in Zoom. It's easy to just assign it to them and expect them to watch it on their own. But if you want engagement and you want to see their reactions and their, what has caught their eye, what's made them laugh, then just watch it with them, no differently on here. Also, you can include questions in between. So if you've pre-watched the video then pause it and have a discussion session, then go back to it. I think that's just a way to get people, keep people engaged and connected with the material that you're wanting them to see. So you'll hear me say this a couple times, but as much as you can, keep things regular. Keep things the way you would do it if you were face to face with them. Don't make so many adjustments to where it feels completely unauthentic. Like, let them connect with you, you connect with them. You can insert your links right into your PowerPoints. I know most people will know that, but a lot of times I wouldn't insert my links because if I was going from room to room, not all the computers would play things right. But on here, you're playing it from your computer. You know it's going to work when you click the button. So go ahead and spend that extra time. And on your PowerPoint, it's an insert, and then you can say video, and then it'll say link or download. You just put the link, you put the YouTube link, and it'll actually pop into your PowerPoint, give you a picture and everything. So it's really convenient. Now, the most important thing to know about when you're doing a video on your computer is that you have to click this button, share computer sound. You can find it when you share a screen, you'll get a little floaty bar. I'm sure there's a proper name for that, but I've been calling it a floaty bar. So you get a floaty bar that pops up, and if you click more on that bar, you'll see share computer sound. If you forget to do this, it's not that they won't hear the video, but they won't hear it clearly. It'll be muffled and it'll sound like it's in the distance. But if you click this button, then they'll hear it just like you're hearing it. So that's a very important thing to remember to do when you're doing a video. All right, so polling. One great feature inside of Zoom is you can do polls. So with polling, you have to make sure that it's enabled on your system, on your program. And so the way you do that is you'll go back to those advanced settings, and then on your side menu, you'll click settings. So remember where I already showed you recording is and all that stuff, reports is, you're gonna go back to there, you're gonna click settings, and then you're gonna go to end meeting basic. And once you go to end meeting basic, if you scroll down, you'll see the polling button. And you have to make sure that it's blue. And once it's blue, then the next time you log out of Zoom and log back in, it'll show up on your bar that's at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And so there are two ways to create a poll. So the first way is during the meeting. If you're already in the meeting, you'll see the polling feature at the bottom. You can click that polling feature, and then a box will pop up for you to type your question, and then you can launch it and all that good stuff. If you would like to put your polls into your meetings, then you can go back to advanced settings, go to meetings on the left panel, find your meeting. So then you'll just scroll down to the title of the meeting that you want. And then once you click that, you scroll all the way to the bottom, and it'll look like this. And then you'll just add. And so you'll be able to add your poll in there, right then and there. And then once you do that, wherever your meeting is, if it's 2 days later or whatever, when you open that meeting, when you click polling, you'll see these questions. All right, so when you click polling, or if you go to add poll, whichever route you go, a box will pop up just like this. And so you can type your questions in and with your responses. Sorry, allergies are killing me. I know this is a recording, but I need you to know. So the most important thing is to name your poll, because if you're going to do multiple polls in one meeting, when you pull it up during your Zoom meeting, you want to be able to go to the poll that you want. And so it's important to name them. The anonymous button, what I've learned about the anonymous button is that means nothing to the participants. It only means something to the host. Even if you were not to check anonymous, the participants won't see what people put. But in the background, there's a report that you can pull. But what I'm learning is that report will only be accurate if your people RSVP through Zoom. So there is a way to have people RSVP through Zoom. If that's not the case and you're doing something in-house and you've just created the meeting and added them to that meeting, you won't be able to do this. So that's the only time that buttons mean something. Now, when you're looking at the question itself, you'll see single choice, multiple choice. What these things mean is how you want them to answer. So single choice means I only want one answer. So what feelings did this video give me? Single choice, I can only click joy, or I can click anxiety, or I can click sadness. Now, if I want multiple choice, then I'm asking what feelings did this video give me? And I can check all that apply to me. So I can check all of them if that's the point. So that's what multiple choice means on here. Now, there's two different things that you have to remember with polling. When you're creating it, when this box pops up, it'll be this one question, but at the bottom, it'll say add another question. So if you want people to answer like 4 questions at a time, so if you click poll, you want 4 questions to pop up, they answer all 4 of those questions, then in this box, you're just going to keep on adding questions until you're done, and then you click save. Now, if you want to have multiple questions throughout the entire presentation that don't come at the same time, then you're going to put your question, save it, and then you'll go back, you'll be right back in that screen. You click add another one, then create that question, save it, it'll close, and keep doing that until you get all the questions that you want. So just remember that if you want them grouped, you'll do it all at the same time before you push save. So this is kind of what it looks like on the screen when you have your polls. Once you click polling, the box will come up. You'll be able to click which question. So polling number 1, I would pick, the question will come up. And then it'll ask you, do you want to launch it? I launch the poll. When you launch the poll, it'll pop up on everybody's screen in front of their pictures. And then they'll be able to answer it. And so here, you'll see a timer of how long it's been up. You'll see the number of people that have submitted it. And so in your participation box, it'll have a number up top of how many people are in the room. So you just compare that so you can see when people are done. And then you're going to end the poll. And then you, if you want, you share the results. When you share the results, it'll pop up like this on everybody's screen. And then they can exit out whenever they get done looking at it, or you can say stop sharing and it'll take it off of everybody's screen. All right, so this is an activity I did during the presentation. I asked people what are words that come to mind when you think about Zoom. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to introduce a tool that I kind of use on the side. And that tool is called Mentimeter. And so you can put the menti.com up there, and the Mentimeter, when you create a slide, it'll give you a code. And so I'll typically put that up there, let everyone think about their words, and then you'd have to open your Mentimeter screen, which will look something like this, and you put it in presentation mode. And as long as people have put the code in there and have joined into Mentimeter, then if you chose the Wordle, then you'll start seeing words just popping up on the screen from people responding to what you say. I just like it because it's colorful. You can change the themes of it. And it's just, again, a way to break up what you got everybody doing. Now, with Mentimeter, the free version, you can only do like 4 or 5 slides. So you can have 4 or 5 questions, excuse me, that you pull up to do this with. And you can do all kind of different types of questions. But I just like it when I just want to throw something quick in there for engagement. So, like I said, this is called Mentimeter. These are all the types of questions that you can open up and use this tool for. Again, I like the Wordle just to kind of give something different. These are a few more examples of the types of things that can be pulled up and the types of questions that you can use with that. There is another thing called Nearpod, which I actually learned from a faculty member at ISU. And this is something that's free for educators. And the beauty about this one is you can create your PowerPoint in it, or you can upload an already existing PowerPoint and then just add active pages. And so you would just add another slide where you want to put your open-ended questions. You'll add a slide where you want to put your poll or collaborate, whatever you want in there. And then that turns your PowerPoint into this active kind of place for folks. And Nearpod will give you a code. Your students can use that code, or your staff can use that code, and then they'll be able to watch this PowerPoint and also answer the questions as the questions come. So they also have a lot of different choices of types of things that you can enter into it. So I think it's pretty cool. Now, with both of them, you can create presentations. Again, Mentimeter is only a free version, so you only get limited slides. So don't think that you can do everything in there unless you purchase it. But Nearpod is free for educators, so most of their free features are included. Most of the features are included in the free version, but they're just tools to use. Something else I like to talk to people about is Canva. And I love Canva. I use Canva for everything. It is, and if you look over here, you'll see a PowerPoint that looks familiar already. But Canva, you can make logos, flyers, like it has thousands of templates for all these things. But I'm telling you about it because of the PowerPoint templates. If your students and staff are going to look at PowerPoints for most of their time, then please, please spend the time to make them engaging. Give them some eye candy, like, you know what I mean? Make them look good so that folks can get, just their eyes can be excited as they're going. And so with Canva, again, free version, you get most of the tools with it. The monthly version is like $12, which I buy because I use it so often and I don't want to limit myself. So $12 a month, and you literally have thousands of PowerPoint choices. So you can create your PowerPoint right into Canva, and it'll give you all these easy features and transitions and all this stuff that you can do. So it's worth the time, especially if you yourself are not good at creating your own templates. Use something that's already there. All right, so I made this slide. If you can see it, it basically says, don't do this. Do not put all these words on these slides for people to have to stare at and read all at once. Break this stuff up. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to stare at that. And nobody definitely wants to try to copy 1,000 words off of one slide. So you, on Zoom, you don't even have to do all the large fonts, worrying about the distance of the PowerPoint projector from someone's seat. So just put what you need on there and move on to the next slide and keep it nice and neat. But do not do these. And I'll also tell you, a lot of people like to use Prezi and things like that, which you very well can, but I get motion sickness. And so when people use Prezi, especially my extreme Prezi folks that want to transition and do all this crazy stuff consistently, I'm nauseous and I'm over it. So I do tell people to watch how much you do, because we don't know how that affects people. And I truly get nauseous with Prezi. So if it's gonna move too much, I typically will leave wherever I'm at because I can't do it. Okay, this is another part where I would have people do an activity. I would send people into a break room so that they can see what that feels like. You can send folks into a break room. You can put as many people in there as you want. I would typically break it up into 4 or 5 people, and I would let them go in there, and then I would go visit them. Because as a host, I can go in and out of all of my breakout rooms. And so I will go in there and kind of show them what that looks like. So I can't do that with you all, but I will tell you about breakout rooms. So with your breakout rooms, you have to make sure that this is enabled, just like polling. You're going to go through the same thing to get to the same place, except you're going to go to End Meeting Advanced. And then you just make sure that that's highlighted blue in order for it to pop up on your options. Now, there are multiple ways to do breakout rooms as well. If you are already in a meeting and you need to instantly do a breakout room, you can click breakout rooms. A box will pop up. You can ask it to automatically assign the room or manually assign the room. If you have a small group, manually isn't bad. You can create a room. What I typically would do is randomly let it create the rooms, pick my number of rooms, then see how they lay, and then move the people that I want moved if I'm doing it instantly. That's the quickest way to do it. But if you, and this is what it'll look like when you click that way, and then you can, you know, put names in there and all that. You'll also have options. With the options are there regardless, but I typically like to check move all participants into breakout rooms automatically, because if you don't check that, then people have to click, they have to give permission to go to a room. And some people can't figure that out. And so then you got folks stuck and you got to reassign them because they've accidentally pushed no or whatever. So If you click to move them automatically, when you create the rooms and open them, they'll just kind of vanish into the rooms, which is perfect. In here, you can allow them to return to the main session at any time. I typically don't check that, and I'll explain that why later. And then you can set the time amount that you want your breakout room to close. So if you just want them to be in there 30 minutes, you can put 30 minutes there, and then it'll bring them back when that's time. Notify me when time is close to up. You can check that. And then you can set your countdown after you close breakout rooms, because when you close the room, it's always going to give a countdown to them. It's on default 60 seconds, but by default 60 seconds, or you can make it whatever you want. So it'll give them that countdown coming back. But this is if you're doing it instantly. The second way is you can pre-assign rooms. So you can pre-assign them into groups. And the way you're going to do that is, one, when you create the meetings, in your meeting box, you'll see something that needs to be checked that says breakout room pre-assign. And so that's when you create it. Now, if you've already created the room and you decide that you would like to assign them, then what you'll do is you'll go into the advanced settings, find your meeting. When you click the meeting, scroll down. This is the same place you would add polls, and then click edit this meeting. And once you click edit this meeting, the meeting will pop back up, and then you can check this box. Now you can manually create rooms by adding individual emails. To me, I think that's a waste of time. Always create your CSV and just upload it. When you click import CSV, it'll give you the template that you need, which looks like this. And then you can just pre-assign your groups. And what I would tell you to do is, if it's a classroom or a group that you're always going to get with, whenever you pre-assign them, just keep those templates, because then you can always upload them whenever you're ready. Or if they're assigned groups for the whole semester, then you can just keep that. But if people are outside of like Illinois State University or wherever your license is, if people are outside of that, then you're always going to have to enter them through the CSV route. You won't be able to find them in the create rooms route. The create rooms will only be for people that's on the same license as you are. Okay. All right. So things to remember about breakout rooms. Once participants are sent to the breakout rooms, they will no longer be able to see your shared screen. So anything that you've been sharing will go away. So if you're going to send them with discussion questions or with a task, make sure that they have that like emailed to them. Or sometimes if it's just 1 or 2 questions, I'll tell them to take a screenshot. But make sure they can take it with them in that room, because they will not know what you told them to do when you leave. Participants can share willingly in their rooms as they please. So once you put them in there, then they have control of that room. The chat box within the rooms will only chat with the folks in that room. So even though it'll say everyone, everyone only means the people in that room. And then when I said that I don't let them come back to the main room, I do that because in their rooms, there's a button at the bottom that says ask for help. And when they click ask for help, it will send the host a message that they need help. And then you can go into that room and check on them. There is a feature in your breakout rooms that they call, it's not called banner. I always call it a banner. Broadcast, there we go. It's called a broadcast, and I can type something and it will broadcast it to everyone in their rooms. And so you can say, all right, this is your 5-minute warning, or you can give them another task or whatever. It does not stay in the room, but it'll broadcast over them like a floaty thingy, and then it'll go away. The host can go from room to room. So any of your hosts or co-hosts can go from room to room. So you can assign some co-hosts to help you check on everybody if you want. Let's see. But co-hosts cannot assign things. So they can't help you with the assigning of breakout rooms or anything like that while you're in the meeting. They can't do any of that. So you have to be the host has to be the person responsible for that. Now, the one thing that I am not 100% sure on because I've played with it and I can't get a factual answer, but for each meeting, you can assign multiple hosts. So in your advanced settings, you can assign multiple hosts so that these people can open the meeting without you or do some of the background work. But what I think I'm learning is that when you all are in the room together, there can only officially be one host. Everyone else will become co-hosts. And so, again, that messes up things if you're wanting them to help you with some of the pre-assignment stuff and all of that. And you know what? One thing I didn't say about the breakout rooms are once you've pre-assigned or randomly assigned those rooms, they will stay in those groups. So even when you bring them back into the main room, if you click breakout rooms again, you'll see that same group pop up and you can send them back out. So that's, that's good if you want to keep them in those rooms. Or you can click randomly assign and shake up the rooms. Now, it's hard to go from randomly assigned to assigned rooms. I've not seen an easy way to do that in large groups. So if you're going to plan to where you can either have them in assigned groups and they stay there, or let them be in assigned groups for something and then randomly assign them, because that's just a button. All you got to do is say, cancel these groups and give me new ones. And it can do that. So depending on how large your group is, trying to switch people around can be very tricky. If that is a goal and you want to go from assign to assign, then implement a 10-minute break for yourself where they get to go away for 10 minutes. Then you can go in there, open that up and play around with moving the people wherever you want them to go. Oh, and something else I learned is if you're recording that session, the recording will go wherever the host goes. So in this presentation, when I was giving it to people, I would go into each room. Well, it would only record when I get in the room with them. And then once I leave, it'll record the next group. It'll record the next group. So wherever I am as the host is what's getting recorded. All right, then there is something, there's a whiteboard and there's annotate. I do not have my whiteboard enabled, but you can. But with annotate, what I like about it is that you can, once you turn it on, you can do things to the screen that's right there. So they can use this. So if you see my mouse moving around, the only reason you see that is because I have annotate clicked. And with annotate being clicked, it gives me this option. But you can also enter text. You can draw. You can stamp. There's like X's that you can, and hearts and all that stuff. So you can use this stuff. You can change your colors. You can do all kinds of stuff with this thing. And there's a save button. So if you've had them do stuff in their breakout rooms, you want them to save it and come share with you, they can very well save it and bring it back to you. Again, they can annotate whatever screen they have up. If whiteboard is there, they can click whiteboard and then a whiteboard will come, but that's no differently than them having a clear sheet of paper up. So I think that's why I don't really use it too often. All right, let's see. Okay, so a few of my final tips. That is so funny, and X got over here. I don't even know how. But a few of my final tips are keep things as close to regular as you can. I mean, I know regular is a subjective word, but keep it as close to what you would regularly do in your classrooms. Do not change it up so much. That's when things start to feel awkward. That's when things don't feel authentic. And then that's missing a way to actually connect with these students or staff or whomever you're working with. Remember to break up the time. YouTube has these really cool countdowns that I use, and I have one for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. And so I'll put that into a PowerPoint slide. So when it's a break time, I can then push it and they'll get to see the time run down. And I tell people to turn their videos off, get up out their seats and walk away purposely, because you need them to get that re-energy. Depends on the topic, Like I do a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff. And so if that's what we're talking about, then I'll tell people to take a deep breath. I'll have those moments of just kind of that mindfulness of slowing it down for a minute. So you make sure to remind yourself to implement that into your presentations. Allow more room for discussions and breakouts. You can actually break people out and get them to meet more people than you can face to face, because you're not moving desks, you're not moving seats. You're literally just moving them into spaces, I call it. So you use that to your advantage. And then let others have some control. Do things where you're assigning staff or students to do stuff, staff, faculty, or students to do stuff. And just give them assignments to do so that they can take the share screen and they can take the reins, and that'll be a great way of changing things up. Make things more appealing, make things prettier, make things colorful, whatever you can to make it more exciting, and then make it interesting. So I had one thing where I had everyone create a virtual background of their own, and it could be their favorite quote or their favorite picture. And so when everybody started the meeting, everyone had these pictures behind them. So it's corny, but it works. You can play Pictionary. You can play things like that allows for folks to just kind of use that whiteboard and that annotate, and just for fun, just for a shakeup of things. You can find game shows that are online that you can do together through Zoom. They have these spin the wheel features where you can let people spin the wheel for points, or spin the wheel for whatever the gift or whatever will be. Again, that's just something that's exciting to do. And then if you have an idea, like Google it. Somebody tried it before. I promise they did. And they'll be able to probably give you a video and also tell you if it was great or if it sucked. So don't be afraid to Google things. All right. And I know y'all can't ask me questions, but that is all that I have for you. You can feel free to reach out to me. This X is following me. I wonder how I get rid of that. I can't. Something else I need to learn. I probably didn't clear it enough. But feel free to reach out to me, Sinesta Howard. I'm sorry, Angel Howard. Never say Sinesta. Angel Howard. You can find me through Ilstu if you have any questions. All right. Thank you all. Have a great day.